It's 10 p.m. in Banjul, and from our studios on MDI Road, this is the news. First, the headlines. The Gambia's ambassador to Washington tells port authorities in Detroit the port of Banjul is ready for business. The drive to actualize Vision 2016 draws volunteers from as far as the Senegalese town of Porohan. The Energy Ministry, UNIDO, and GEF launched an intervention designed to clear the way for the switch from fossil oil-based energy generation to renewable sources. Migrants angered by attempts to halt their voyage engaged in running battles with Hungarian police along the border with Serbia. And Republican presidential hopefuls gear up for yet another televised debate against a backdrop of fears a Republican administration could undo the Iran nuclear deal. These and other stories coming ahead this half hour. I am your presenter, FATOUMATA JOBE. The Office of the President is pleased to inform the general public that all civil servants and members of the armed and security forces of the Gambia will benefit from a 1x6 loan facility ranging from $5,000 to $6,500. All government employees and service personnel are therefore urged to apply for the facility through their heads of department. The sale of rams will take place at State House and will run from Friday 18 to Wednesday 23 September 2015. The general public can also buy rams, but on cash and carry basis. The rams that will be on sale are 50% cheaper than those available on the market. The President wishes everybody a blessed Eid al-Adha. Operation Save the Children Foundation is relatively young, but the body under the stewardship of Her Excellency Madam Zainab Yahya Jammeh has embarked on a number of important initiatives geared towards ensuring the holistic development of Gambian children. GRTS's Uminjai tells us more on some of those interventions.
As the Gambia grows, responsibility of its head of state equally grows, requiring an increase in government machinery for both administration and logistics. The First Lady, as Mother of the Nation, thought it wise to open an establishment that will reduce the burden of responsibility of his spouse's government. The founding of the Office of the First Lady under the stewardship of Her Excellency Madam Zainab Yahya Jammeh is in line with her efforts to enhance the welfare of Gambian people in all development avenues with special focus on women and children. The new establishment has already started creating waves at both the home front and beyond. Some of these activities include attending high-level convergences such as the Spousal Forum organized by U.S. First Lady Michelle Obama and the Busis Institute, project launching and visits to diverse places, among other series of activities. The role of First Ladies is like that of a national mother. People idealize them and want the best from them. People also have the liberty to absolutely criticize and blame them in certain respect. The case of the Gambia's First Lady is that of a successful one. Madam Jammeh, like her spouse, places a lot of premium on the welfare of Gambian women and children. The project dubbed Operation Save the Children Foundation is one of First Lady Madam Jammeh's programs seeking towards that direction.
The government of the Gambia recognizes the need for adopting systems approach to child protection to address protection of all children from all forms of violence, abuse, exploitation, and neglect, whilst increasing the efficiency and effectiveness of its national response through the establishment of community child protection committees and neighborhood watch groups who are actively involved in community sensitizations and referral to services for children and families in difficult circumstances. Furthermore, child protection health focal points are present in all major and minor health facilities to address the issues of child protection. A birth registration strategy plan has been developed to ensure that all children in the Gambia are registered to enable them access basic services.
The First Lady of the Gambia is a member of the Association of African First Ladies, whose organization set its sight on the holistic promotion and protection of women and children across the African continent. Since assuming responsibility in the huddle, First Lady Jammeh has continued to support the cause of women and children in the fields of empowerment and development. Still in her efforts to improve the welfare of Gambian children and women, Madam Zainab Jammeh launched a vaccine called Human Papillomavirus Vaccine in 2014, meant to prevent young girls from the dreadful cervical cancer virus.
Today we are gathered here to witness the launching of the human papillomavirus HPV for the prevention of cervical cancer, which is the fourth most common cause of cancer in the world, with approximately 500,000 new cases and about 25,000 deaths annually. HPV is usually acquired through sexual contact, and the infection leads to cancer in the reproductive organ known as the cervix. In the Gambia, cervical cancer is the second leading cause of cancer deaths among women, which is preventable with 2 doses of the HPV vaccine. I am with the strong conviction that under the dynamic leadership of His Excellency, the President, Professor Al-Haj Dr. Yahya A.J.J. Jammeh, Babili Mansa, and under my stewardship championing the fight against cervical and prostate cancer, we can prevent our women from this dreadful disease, thereby reducing the number of untimely deaths down to 0.
Education is one of the most critical areas for empowering women, and offering girls basic education is one sole way of empowering them to make genuine choices over the kinds of lives they wish to lead. This is a key area that the Association of African First Ladies are critically looking at, and the Gambia has registered remarkable gains in that area over the period.
When we started in '94, there were only about 52,000 girls in the school system. Today we have 208,000 girls that are in the education system, and this is basic and secondary alone. And because of his interventions, he didn't even stop at creating the trust fund for girls under the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education, but also went further to create a scholarship program under his office. We have been able to register tremendous achievements. We are one of, I can say we are in Africa, the only country, as I know now, that has attained gender parity at basic and secondary education level.
Madam Zainab Jammeh is one of the first ladies who like to socialize with children, irrespective of creed and credence. This was a visit she made to the St. John's School for the Deaf to see the state of affairs of the learning center and to make these differently able kids feel inspired in every aspect. A healthy population is a prerequisite for development, and as such, the Gambia's First Lady has been injecting colossal funds to the country's main referral hospital and conducts regular visits to some health facilities to see what obtains at the ground. This was a field visit to the Banjulinding Women's Horticulture Garden.
So these pies actually they are in this area or the whole garden?
Most of the garden has it.
First ladies are usually very busy with other activities, perhaps running personal doings. This is not the case with Madam Zainab Jammeh, as she led a cleansing exercise with school children at the coastal settlement of Tangier in commemoration of World Art Day 2015. This was the scene at the beach.
I am here for a special message. Is to set up an example. Gambia, it's beautiful. We have to start today and continue. Today is just this, we just started. But where to go from here? Because the point of being together today is to do something and keep on doing it every single day. That's why we said Earth Day should be every day. I mean, my special message to all of you, to keep it very short, if we keep our environment, if we put in mind that our environment is like our own home, we will not have these results. I mean, nobody, I'm sure, lives in a home that is dirty, or nobody can walk away while you are in your house seeing trash on the floor and just passing away. So if we treat our environment, if we treat our country like our own home, we will have a beautiful home. So this is my special message today. Let us take care of our environment. Let us be clean. Let us make sure that together we can have Earth Day every single day.
She also presided over the 2015 International Women's Day celebration, a parade which brought together women to reflect on their achievements, challenges, and look at the way forward. These were some of the things Madam Jammeh acknowledged at the gathering.
The need to enroll and keep our daughters in school is crucial to any nation's development. Therefore, let's encourage and allow them to contribute their fair share as well. With the support of His Excellency the President, all our children are entitled to equal rights to education. Likewise, we as women have the right to live in a dignified manner and to raise our children in a loving environment, free from sexual abuse or domestic violence. Let us therefore reinforce our social protection structures by playing our parts and carrying out our duties as responsible women and parents within the household for a start. In carrying our duties each day, we often serve as nurturing mothers, caring wives, caretakers, educators, peacemakers, but most of all, as partners in development.
In addition to her many activities, Madam Zainab Jammeh is actively engaged in supporting the physically challenged in a way of giving out donations and also giving scholarship to people. With the record setting itself and clear enough for a testimony, more is said to be in the pipeline under the office of the First Lady, Madam Zainab Jammeh. As the Gambia
Thousands of eager volunteers recently descended on farms in one of the country's rice-producing belts, the Central River region to be more precise, to help fast-track the attainment of Vision 2016. A good number of them came from the North Bank region, but as HN Silva tells us, a contingent from the northern Senegalese settlement of Porohan also made its presence felt.
2015 is fast nearing its end, and the road to Vision 2016 has never been this close. As such, work on all Vision 2016 farms across the country is not showing any sign of abating, especially at the rice production belts of Pachar and Tabanani, where things are becoming more and more tedious. That sound you hear whenever tractors, bulldozers, and excavators crisscross this wide terrain every day to plow and cultivate different varieties of rice. And on the side of the volunteers, they have been flocking here in their thousands to do what they call a routine work from the word go. On our recent visit to these Vision 2016 fields in CRR, we caught up with hundreds of volunteers who were already busy removing weeds from the early maturing Narika rice located in the uplands of Tabanani, some kilometers away from Pachar. It was no easy feat. Nonetheless, we braved the flooded waters to access the area where they were working. But it took us 30 minutes to reach what was our first destination. After what was an interesting journey in the field, we safely joined the volunteers who had already tidied a large area and were still poised to do more despite having to go through what was a motivating process. For them, working here is something they cherish because it is towards a national cause.
We are here to fulfill our commitment towards the 2016 presidential call for 2016 and also the active vision 2020. We came here by ourselves. We are not forced. There was no condition that was put on. We realized that, together we are going to build a nation. This is why the other time we came, we realized there is a lot of work to be done here. So the farm manager appealed that we need to come back.
We are very enthused to work here as our own contribution to President Jammeh's farming activities because he is a visionary leader and a beacon of peace and unity.
While others are busy removing weeds from this upland area, some are transplanting rice in the tidal areas of Pachar, which was harvested few weeks ago. Here, it is a continuous process, and volunteers are poised to make sure work is completed before water recedes. The farm manager, Major Sidi Balde, was working side by side with volunteers and is confident of an unprecedented harvest this year, since it was manifested in the previous harvest.
This year's season we have a lot of water, and then it is an advantage for us. We have an advantage, and that advantage is the amount of water we had. Before the water will go down, we will be done with transplanting, and at the same time we will be only waiting for the crop maturing and then harvesting. And then we are not only venturing into rice production alone.
Major Balde was very impressed with the huge turnout of volunteers this year and hopes it continues, especially when crops are due for harvest, perhaps in few weeks' time.
They also have their own farms. Somebody who left his farm to come and help you in your own farm, you have nothing to tell him but to thank him. I am thanking everybody on behalf of Canela Family Farms for the support that they are giving us, for the help that they are doing. Although they are helping themselves, because all what is produced here goes back to them. Because up till now, His Excellency the President has not touched any of these proceeds from this area here. He said it's for the people, and then he's plowing it back to the people. So it is for them. These fields are for them. He is a leader, and a leader with sample.
According to the farm manager, the food self-sufficiency drive has started yielding positive fruits in the Central River region, where the cost of living is said to be reduced significantly. And if everything goes as planned, a similar positive trend is expected to prevail across the country.
It has already paid dividends, because you go to the market, here a cup of rice is $4. If a cup of rice is sold at $4, how much is a bag? It's not $800. It has gone down drastically, and then people here are feeding on what they are growing, and then growing what they are feeding on.
In the far-flung settlement of Boiram lies a huge corn and millet farm cultivated for the purpose of the Vision 2016 agenda. The crops there have started bearing fruits and are predicted to have a bumper harvest if there is security in place to keep intruders at bay. Work in our Vision 2016 fields is at its peak as crops continue to grow promisingly. In few weeks' time, harvesting will kick off in most of the fields and will require more and more hands to assist in ensuring a timely and successful harvest. Etienne Silva, Grts.
Bankers, insurance regulators and other stakeholders from Nigeria, Sierra Leone, Malaysia and the Gambia are preparing the ground for the eventual introduction of Sharia-compliant financing in Sierra Leone, Nigeria and the Gambia. Louis Mendy witnessed the opening of the two-day interface jointly organized by the Central Bank of the Gambia and the Ministry of Finance and Economic Affairs. And
the Gambia is on the verge of introducing Islamic finance in the country's banking system. This seminar caps on building Islamic finance in Sierra Leone, Nigeria, and in the Gambia is a huge step in that direction, using the experiences of Malaysia as a point of departure.
The objective of this workshop
is for participants to deliberate and come up with a roadmap to build and promote the development of Islamic finance in the Gambia, Nigeria, and Sierra Leone, and even beyond, whilst enhancing public awareness of this non-interest-based financial system.
The development was necessitated by the expansive nature of the Islamic finance. Organizers say it's becoming more important in the global finance stability and economic development that it requires a clear policy stand.
This project, which commenced in April 2015, was secured through a joint application from the Ministry of Finance and the Central Bank of the Gambia. I would therefore like to acknowledge the work that both institutions put in place to ensure that this project is realized.
Participants in the two-day seminar are drawn from the banking and insurance regulators of Nigeria, Sierra Leone, personnel of the Malaysia and the Gambia central banks, the private sector, and Sharia scholars.
COMSEC's vision is geared towards building solidarity, interdependence, mobility, and good governance within the OIC member countries. It actualizes this vision by promoting activities that help to disseminate knowledge and best practices in target areas that would help to address the economic and social challenges that are prevalent within some OIC member countries.
The seminar is the final activity of the project titled Enhancing Financial Literacy and Capacity Building on Islamic Financial Instruments.
At the outset, I would like to commend and salute the implementers of the project, namely the Financial Supervision Department of the Central Bank of the Gambia, in partnership with the Central Bank of Nigeria and Bank of Sierra Leone. And on behalf of the government and the people of the Gambia, I profusely thank the Standing Committee for Economic and Commercial Cooperation of the Organization of Islamic Cooperation for funding the project.
The project is also in line with the Central Bank's vision to position the Gambia as a leading Islamic finance hub in Africa. For the Central Bank of the Gambia is of the view that the private sector can be the key anchor of any strategy to promote the use of Islamic finance instruments. That was why it drove the awareness of the project to the private sector participants to solicit their support in the bank's continuous effort to develop a broad Islamic finance sector in the country and the sub-region. Louis Mendy, GRTS.
The Gambia's ambassador to the United States of America recently embarked on a mission that is expected to further position the port of Banjul as a reliable springboard for U.S. companies seeking to further penetrate the ECOWAS market and beyond. Ambassador Shea Omar told officials of Detroit Wayne County Port the Gambia is ready to do business. Samuel Ba has the rest of that story.
Ambassador to the United States of America recently held talks with officials of the Detroit County Ports Authority to assess how both seaports could partner. The plan tied up between the Port of Banjul and Detroit, Michigan is expected to pave way for the development of significant trade and investment opportunities for the two countries.
It's a country of barely about a couple of million people. Its location or size could be the size of what? Rhode Island or Connecticut, one of the states here in America. But it's a safe haven. It used to be also an emergency landing site for NASA. So when that space shuttle gets out of Miami or wherever, something happens, it can land in the Gambia.
The Gambia Ports Authority and its sister port Detroit are said to be strategically located. Thus, the formalization of a trade agreement could be a significant step in efforts to strengthen economic and commercial bonds between the two countries.
We have partnered with the USA in anti-terrorist acts, in lots of things. And when I presented my credentials to President Obama, he mentioned, the Gambia's participation in peacekeeping and supporting the United States in anti-terrorism. And lots of other good things. Of course, we had Peace Corps coming to the Gambia since 1967. We have just had some excellent relationships that happened. And a lot of Americans live freely in the Gambia.
The Gambia's peace and tranquility is a rare gem in a highly volatile sub-region, coupled with the secularity of her citizenry.
Our aim today is to see what we can do to partner. So beautiful, but which is also a gateway. I've realized this is, Detroit, this port is a gateway to the rest of the world. And then it's going to be very interesting seeing your port here partner with the port of the Gambia. Of course, small country, small port, but you can use there as a hub also to reach out to places that, there's nobody killing somebody because they believe in Islam or Christianity. Yeah. The Gambia enjoys what they call religious tolerance.
The Gambia Ports Authority, though a young port, but with significant trading opportunities and long-term growth strategies in line with the country's development agenda.
I think both parties can benefit heavily in this collaboration. And I'm excited that I can represent my country, that my ambassador is here. And the meeting seems good, and I'm happy. I can't explain how happy I am right now. It was a great meeting.
Gambia means well. Gambia wants to open up. Gambia is a small country in size, but it's big.
The idea of integrating both seaports was equally embraced by officials of the sister ports of Detroit, who are looking forward to partnering with GPA.
Very good session this morning at the Detroit Port Authority with the Gambian ambassador and the rest of his delegation. From a port perspective, it was an outstanding opportunity to hear some of the advantages of being able to leverage the Gambia as a gateway to the overall African continent.
This has been very successful. We're very pleased. The participants from Automation Alley and Ford Motor Company and the James Group were all very pleased with what they learned, what they heard, and so we're excited. We have two very important trade links here. We have an incredible international airport, which may be kind of instrumental in the initial stages of developing that link between the Detroit, Southeast Michigan area and the Gambia. But as those trade links grow and that opportunity develops, having the opportunity to move things by water, it is the most efficient way to move things. It is the capabilities are there, and the region, the Great Lakes region and West Africa are very compatible. And I think this is why I'm so excited about the opportunities of looking at where the Great Lakes, where Detroit and West Africa and the Gambia can work together.
Samuel Ba, GRTS.
The Department of Wildlife Management has launched the Clearinghouse Mechanism web portal. The two-pronged event held on Wednesday also saw the validation of the second-generation National Biodiversity Strategy and Action Plan. Details in this report by Janke Ture.
In a bid to ensure practical demonstration of its commitment to issues surrounding biodiversity and the environment in general, the Department of Wildlife Management has launched the Clearinghouse Mechanism web portal and validate of the second generation of the National Biodiversity Strategy and Action Plan document. The document is said to be in line with Article 6 of the United Nations Convention on Biological Diversity.
This is in line with Article 6 of the UNCBD, which requires countries to prepare a national biodiversity strategy and to ensure that this strategy is mainstreamed into the planning and activities of all those sectors whose activities can have an impact on biodiversity.
Launched in 2012, the project encompasses various issues, including the preparation of a procurement plan. The director at the Department of Wildlife Management, Mamadou El Gassama, further dilates on this important subject.
The project was initiated with regional sensitization across the whole country. This aroused keen interest among various startup communities we met. Two hottest issues that came out during these consultations were hippo menace and the use of destructive fishing nets by mainly foreign fishermen.
The action plan, as stated by Director Gassama, is a strategic instrument for achieving concrete outcomes and its role. He added, is to drive public policy and generate the activities and changes that it identifies as needed in order to meet the objective of the convention at national level. Permanent Secretary Usman Sow said that this website will serve as an effective means for communication and the dissemination of some very vital information.
It is pleasing to note that through this website, an effective means for information and communication to promote and facilitate scientific and technical cooperation, knowledge sharing and information exchange, and to establish a fully operational network of stakeholders and partners will be possible. Hence, it will contribute to enhancing the implementation of the strategic plan.
It is a requirement that all parties to treaties should establish their own national clearinghouse mechanism to provide effective information service so as to facilitate the implementation of national biodiversity strategies. To this end, the Convention on Biological Diversity's created website may in the same vein help facilitate the mechanisms for the implementation of the biodiversity strategy plan from 2011 to 2020. Reporting for GRTS News, I am Janke Toure.
Environmentalists and conservationists around the world are commemorating International Ozone Layer Day to, among other things, highlight the current state of the blanket-like shield that protects us from the harmful rays of the sun. The depletion of the ozone layer is blamed for the increasing incidence of cancer cases, but experts say efforts made over the years to curb the trend are yielding dividend. Modubajan tells us more on that.
As its issues may be, the ozone layer is very important, and it is due to its significance that the United Nations International Day for the Preservation of the Ozone Layer is celebrated on September 16th each year. In a televised speech, the Minister of the Environment, Pausman Jaju, underscored the essentiality of safeguarding the world's ozone layer as embedded in this year's theme and slogan.
The theme for the celebration is 30 years of healing the ozone together, with the slogan, ozone, all there is between you and UV, that is ultraviolet. The theme celebrates the collective efforts of the parties to the Vienna Convention and the Montreal Protocol in protecting the ozone layer over the past 3 decades. And the supporting slogan highlights the importance of the ozone layer in protecting life on Earth from the harmful effects of ultraviolet.
The Earth's ozone layer, as tabled by experts, plays an important role in protecting human health and the environment. Therefore, it is a key determinant of climatic conditions, and its destruction has over the years contributed to global warming and its sometimes devastating effects. Despite this and other challenges, the world's ozone layer, as Minister Jaju stated, is recovering with huge benefits to humanity and nature alike.
The ozone layer is healing itself and is expected to recover by the middle of this century. In addition, up to 2 million cases of skin cancer may be prevented each year by 2030, and significant adverse effects on agriculture, wildlife, fisheries, and materials have been avoided.
Also reiterated in the Environment Minister's speech is the Presidency's due consideration for the protection of the ozone layer through interventions in its legislature, which has resulted in commendations for the government of the Gambia.
With the signing into law of the ozone depleting substances regulation by His Excellency, Sir Professor Dr. Alhaji Yaya AJJ Jame Babili Mansa, it was awarded a plaque by the United Nations Environment Program in recognition of her outstanding role in the protection and preservation of the ozone layer. In addition, the government of the Gambia, through the National Environment Agency, registered remarkable successes in the fight against atmospheric pollution and the depletion of the ozone layer.
There are numerous successes in the mitigation of challenges of the ozone layer, but as the Minister further elaborated, more intervention is required on issues including awareness-raising campaigns and environmental protection.
The Montreal Protocol has so far succeeded in phasing out chlorofluorocarbons. However, a lot is still to be done The world community needs to continue to monitor the challenges in the ozone layer. Consequently, it is incumbent on us all to plant more trees, use ozone-friendly refrigerators, and educate each other on the dangers associated with the use of ODS and atmospheric pollutants.
As this year, which marks the 30th anniversary of the Vienna Convention for the Protection of the Ozone Layer, is said to be an important milestone in the protection of the ozone layer, the practice and continuity of an all-inclusive stakeholder participation may be very essential in handling the sometimes complex issues of the ozone layer, which has a crucial bearing on climate change. Modu Bajan reporting for GRTS News.
Efforts to ensure widespread use of renewable energy sources are gathering pace. Officials of the Ministry of Energy, United Nations Industrial Development Organization, UNIDO, and Global Environment Facility recently gathered for the launching of the UNIDO GEF5 project, which is an integral aspect of the shift from fossil oil to clean energy. Ibrahim Jallo reports focuses on small and medium-scale renewable energy systems.
Climate change and its related consequences continues. Top echelons from energy and environment sectors in the Gambia have officially launched the GEF5 project, jointly funded by the United Nations Industrial Development Organization UNIDO and the Global Environment Facility GEF. The project is geared towards promoting the use and integration of small to medium-scale renewable energy systems, making use of environmentally friendly technologies in a bid to reduce carbon emission and ensure conducive environment for all. Addressing the gathering, the Executive Director of National Environment Agency NEA, Dey Bakurin, who doubles as the GEF focal point, underscores Gambia's positions in the protection of its environment.
The government of the Gambia continue to create enabling environment to address energy needs of the people and people living in the Gambia. Therefore, it is important we exploit partnership and sustainable avenue to accessing energy. The Gambia government, in partnership with the Global Environmental Facility, that is GEF, and also the United Nations Industrial Development Organization, UNIDO, who are represented here also, and of course our colleague from ECRI, who are also represented here, and of course the private sector and other stakeholders will be implementing this important project.
The Industrial Development Officer of UNIDO said the organization is poised to join hands with the Gambia government for the successful implementation of the project.
For us in UNIDO, the collaboration and support received from the Ministry of Energy, the National Environment Agency, Ministry of Industry, ECRI, who developed this project document, and the private sector are true testimony of the commitment by the government of the Gambia and all partners to lead efforts to increase access to modern energy services and improve energy security. This is indeed in line with the UN Sustainable Energy for All objectives and the action plans of the Gambia under Sea for All.
The Minister of Energy, Dr. Edward Sajasani, acknowledges government's concern about climate change threats triggered by unfavorable power generation systems.
Availability of reliable system of energy supply that is efficient, affordable and environmentally sound is one of the vital components of the Gambia government developmental blueprint program for accelerated growth and employment page. This is because the provision of modern energy service is recognized as central to creating growth and employment and therefore resulting in poverty alleviation. However, the energy sector is predominantly conventional, which relies heavily on fossil fuel. This system of energy supply has over the decades, coupled with other human activities, resulted in the greenhouse gas emissions at levels considered dangerous for our environment.
Officials believe that the successful implementation of the project using renewable energy and energy efficiency technologies will provide a safer place for the populace. Ibrahim Jallo, GRTS News.
We'll be back with news from outside the Gambia after this break. Violence has broken out along the Hungarian-Serbian border. Hungarian police have fired tear gas and water cannon at protesting migrants demanding to enter the country and continue their journey north to Germany and Sweden. We have more in this DW report.
Chaotic scenes in the Serbian border town of Horgosh. Hundreds of refugees protest at the Hungarian frontier, demanding to be let through. But the gates remain closed. Tempers fray, and gradually the protesters turn more aggressive. Rocks are thrown, part of the border gives way, and the Hungarian police charge, backed by soldiers. Water cannons are fired. The refugees pelt stones back at them. Then comes the tear gas, sending people scattering. There's panic in a nearby camp where the refugees have been sleeping. Then, police again close the border gates. For now, at least, this route to Europe is shut. But these scenes show just how desperate the refugees have become.
We can't go back in the place that we was first living because we don't have anything to go back because we lost our passport on board, we lost our money, lost of our money till we come in here.
We can't go. We have sick and their children. We don't have food.
Hungary says the border will remain closed for at least another month. Today, its hard line has been tested. So far, it remains intact. Just.
With one flashpoint closed, migrants are now looking for alternative routes to Western Europe. Serbia is reporting several thousand are now massing on its border with Croatia. Hundreds have already crossed and as many as 4,000 are expected in the coming days. It is a route that poses a host of problems for the migrants and the nations along their newly chosen path. We have more in this report.
Croatia. Refugees are already changing their route, now trying their luck down a new road. For days on end, they were stuck in Serbia on the Hungarian border. Now they're moving on. From here, it's just a few hundred meters to the next EU border, the Croatian one. This route is longer than the one through Hungary, but they have no other choice.
Hungary closed the borders, and anyone across the borders in Hungary were arrested, and we have 3 years in prison. We don't know why they do this. We just want to pass. We don't want anything. There's war in our countries, killing, bombing, everything. We can't stay.
The dangers are never ending. On foot in the border area, they have to watch out for landmines, leftovers from the Balkan Wars. The Croatian police say they've already picked up a few hundred people here in what appears to be a friendlier reception than in Hungary. Croatia is now bracing for the arrival of thousands. Our response is that we're ready. We are ready to welcome these people, no matter what their faith or skin color is. We will help guide these people to where they want to go. And that's Western Europe.
U.S. presidential hopefuls are bracing up for yet another debate. During the debate, we will likely hear candidates talk about some policy issues, perhaps even attacking the Iran nuclear deal. To find out if Iranians are concerned, CNN's reporter Fred headed out to the streets of Tehran.
Trump to Jeb Bush to Carly Fiorina. Republican presidential candidates have been talking tough on Iran, some even threatening to cancel the nuclear agreement if they win. Words that have some Iranians worried, says analyst Ahmad Abshanas.
If you live in Iran, you should be afraid. What's going to happen? Is there a plan to attack Iran? Are they planning to attack Iran? What will happen to us?
On Tehran streets, as you'd expect, the majority don't even know the names of the GOP candidates.
Of course, the vast majority of Iranians aren't following the U.S. election campaigns, especially in these early stages, but there certainly are some who are frustrated with the way many Republican candidates have been criticizing their country.
But those we spoke to also believe the rhetoric coming from the candidates is just that, campaign talk.
When they speak about the nuclear deal, they don't think about the benefit for the American people, this man says. They just think about their own benefit. So I think the Republicans have shown that for their benefit, they will do anything. As far as I know, this is the party of George Bush and Ronald Reagan, this man adds. They were much stronger than these people, and they could not touch us either. So these guys can't do anything. Contempt from Iran's hardliners. The Kayhan newspaper is the voice of the country's conservatives.
From Iraq or
its boss, Hossein Shariat Madari, is an official representative of Iran's supreme leader. He picked on the last Republican president's brother. Jeb Bush's talk is bigger than his mouth, he said. He should consider if he really wants to continue the failed policies of his brother. We don't care what the Republicans say. It's a big step from talking to taking action. While many Iranians dismiss the tough talk from Republicans running for the White House, as the election draws closer, many more will be paying attention, eager to see what a new president will mean for U.S.-Iranian relations and the nuclear agreement. Fred Pleiken, CNN, Tehran.
We take our second break now. A look at sports when we return. Welcome back. The number of Gambians making waves in international sports is growing, and so is the diverse nature of their career profiles. Recently, Swedish-born Badu Jack switched allegiance to represent the Gambia, while another Europe-based judoka, Fainjai, won the country's first silver medal in the ongoing All-Africa Games in Brazzaville, Congo. And in Rochester's Tatasan region, another young Gambian recently made headlines poolside during last month's famous swimming championship. Abubakar Senghor has his story.
This is Kazan, the capital of Russia's Tatarstan region. And at the high-tech swimming center, the world watch as the FINA championship takes center stage. On this day, attention is on the Gambia swimming sensation, Pap Changan, who is now the Gambia's king of the pools. He was out in the waters in Kazan Sports Center with some of the finest swimmers, and he never disappointed. He completed an impressive third in the men's 50 meters freestyle, finishing behind Mamadou Soumare and Amadou Kamara of Mali and Guinea, respectively. Changan showed remarkable spirit and skill to improve on his timing against some top swimmers, but he was not the only Gambian making the headlines in Tatarstan. Less heralded but no less important work was being done by another Gambian swimmer, come international swimming referee, Yoronjai. The young Gambian is the only referee from his country at the 16th FINA World Masters Swimming Championship. This is a huge step in my life, he says, as he talked to Grts weeks after his return from Kazan.
It was very good. We had, in the first championship, we had two young swimmers that really did
Gambian swimmers?
Yes, Gambian swimmers. They are local-based swimmers, and their performance was really amazing. Because one of them is Pab, and he's from Bara. His personal best so far is 27.24, and that was so much impressive. And he was on the limelight, for a couple of seconds, it was really, really good.
Gambia's renewed standing in international sports has provided many of our young citizens the chance to compete at the highest level on and off the pitch. One of the country's most famous sons is Bakary Papa Gassama, renowned for his experts in refereeing internationally. For young Euro, Papa's story is one of inspiration for his country people.
This last competition, we had only 20 days training camp in Dakar. And you wouldn't believe that Pap swam in the short course in Doha in December with a timing of 30.32.
And he improved on that one.
Oh yeah. After 7-8 months, he was able to swim 27.24. So it's just amazing. I don't even know.
Do you see a future for this young player?
Oh yeah, not only him, Modlamin also, it's good because in his hits he was supposed to lead the race, but because he doesn't have that experience, The pools are all automated. He had to hit on the wall so that it records on the automatic timing, and he just softly touched the wall. So the other opponent hit hard, so he had to lead the race. But all those are matter of experience. So I see real potentials in those two swimmers, and not only those two swimmers. They were the lucky ones to compete, but we also have some very good swimmers.
So the swimming referee come to fulfill only a fraction of what his fellow countryman achieved in football. That shall equally qualify as a huge success in a sport which is slowly finding space in Gambia's sporting landscape. But the new poster boy of Gambia's sporting success is not settling for anything less. He has already set sights on the 2017 Budapest FINA Championship.
I led the team because of my experience. It's always important for people that know their sports to lead teams. You cannot lead a team in which you don't know a clue of. So I think it's high time for Gambian sports to be saying things. If you're to lead a swimming team, you have to know how to enter athletes and how to appeal for some of their disqualifications. You will know how to change, what are the penalties in relationship to the rules of the FINA. So because I've been with FINA for a quite long time, so I was able to at times you go and lobby. You know, you lobby out for trainings and for clinics and for development stuff.
Have you done a little bit of
that? Oh
yeah,
because we have a dream and we have an objective to attain, so we have to work hard.
It's been a long road for the ambitious swimming referee, a journey that has taken him from Banjul to Kazan, and now a feature in the pool. For JRTS Sport is Babukar Senghor.
Let's now take a look at the weather report from the Central Forecast Office.
Starts here. That simple promise of a harvest after planting is nature's service to the community that you and I are a part of. We carry on bonding and sharing because the feeling to serve is mutual. But that promise between us, the sun and the land, is what gives us the hope to carry on. And as it was in the beginning, we started with a belief to serve. Elton, a new vision of service.
Hello there, wonderful viewers. Welcome to the weather segment. I am Hadijatu Abdul Hakim. We experienced a humid and cloudy atmosphere with rain and thunderstorm accompanied with strong winds across the country. Rainfall figures recorded at 600 hours are as follows. Unum recorded the highest with 49.2 millimeters, Fatoto 34.8, Sibano 33.7, Bassa recorded 28.4, Kerawan 22.1, Janjambure 21.8, Banyu recorded 19.6 millimeters, Kawuru 18.5, and Sapo recorded the least with 9.1 millimeters. Tonight will be fairly cool and variably cloudy across the country, whilst the day tomorrow it will be partly cloudy, warm and humid. Surface winds will vary between southwesterlies and westerlies in orientation, varying to northwest later. The speed will vary between 5 and 10 kilometers per hour. Temperatures across the country will vary from 22 degrees Celsius over Greater Banjul, West Coast and Upper River region, whilst the rest of the country will either be 23 or 24 degrees Celsius warm. Top temperatures will be 31 degrees Celsius over the Greater Banjul, over West Coast rather, whilst 33 over Greater Banjul, 34 over Lower River and Central River region, whilst North Bank and Upper River will record the highest with 35 degrees Celsius. Low tides will be 0.3 meters at 6 a.m. and also at 6 p.m. High tides will be 1.6 meters at 12 a.m. Waves will vary between, waves will be 1 meter rather, southwesterly swells. The sun will rise at 7 minutes to 7 in the morning, and we will set at 7 minutes after 7 in the evening. Thanks for the pleasure of your company, and we'll have a wonderful moment.
Before we take leave of you, a recap of the day's main stories. The Gambia's ambassador to Washington has told port authorities in Detroit the port of Banjul is ready for business. The drive to actualize Vision 2016 has drawn volunteers from as far as the Senegalese town of Porohan. The Energy Ministry, UNIDO, and GEF have launched an intervention designed to clear the way for the switch from fossil oil-based energy generation to renewable sources. Migrants, angered by attempts to halt their voyage, have been engaged in running battles with Hungarian police along the border with Serbia. And Republican presidential hopefuls are gearing up for yet another televised debate against the backdrop of fears a Republican administration could undo the Iran nuclear deal. That was all in this edition of the news. Thanks for the pleasure of your company. Do stay with us. I am your presenter, FATOUMATA. JOBE.